Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk about how MechWarrior 2 just got re-released on PC and Xbox. Sort of. Okay, to be fair, it is a version of MechWarrior 2 that's gotten re-released, but it is the PS1 version of the game, and not one of the many different PC versions of the game. Which is a weird choice, considering it got re-released alongside some other games that actually are running from DOS. But at the end of the day, it is a version of MechWarrior 2 for what it's worth, though you're not actually allowed to buy it right now. Instead, you can only rent it as part of the Game Pass program, though as previously mentioned, you're getting a whole bunch of other games right along with it, as it got re-released as part of the Retro Classics collection, which currently includes around 50 games and is expected to grow in the library size. So this is very much news that has both pros and cons to it. There are, however, a couple of implications by this news that are rather positive. For a start, it is of note that MechWarrior 2 as a game is especially notorious for being a licensing nightmare, as in being a big mystery as to who exactly owned the rights here and there. So the fact that it has gotten a re-release shows that that part of the whole affair has at least been worked out enough to provide the PS1 version of the game. But it also implies the possibility of potentially getting a remaster at some point. And were that to be the case, that would be excellent, because if there is any game out there that still deserves a remaster, then MechWarrior 2 is very much near or at the very top of that list. The game still stands as one of the very best mech simulators to ever be created. But not only that, this one game did more than any other game in history when it came to the rise of dedicated GPUs, with a lot of graphics card companies releasing a special version of MechWarrior 2 to show off what their GPU could do. And MechWarrior 2 really is prime material for getting the remaster treatment as well. Now, of course, it's not exactly a guarantee that this game will get a remaster. However, this particular re-release is at the very least a promising sign. And that is, of course, on top of the other promise that we're getting additional games via this Retro Classics collection, meaning the gateway might be open to games such as the Vigilante 8 series potentially making a return, or perhaps even something like Civilization Call to Power 1, another game notorious for being licensing hell. I'm not a fan, of course, of this being restricted behind Game Pass, though were it to be actually sold, I would snatch this collection up in a heartbeat. And also, as I've previously mentioned, it would be far more preferable to have one of the PC versions of MechWarrior 2 if we had to really pick one version instead of the PS1 version, especially considering that there are other DOS versions of other games on this collection. Even with those caveats though, this is still promising news for the potential future of MechWarrior 2. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.